I'm excited to share maybe my favorite part of my cricket card collection, and that is my Jack Hobbs collection. And I love this part of my collection for a few reasons. One, Hobbs played cricket for a really long time, so he was in a lot of different issues. And I'll kind of walk through the timeline of these, maybe not in perfect chronological order, but at least for the cards that I've gathered. I'll talk a little bit about the releases and the timing. But yeah, so Hobbes' career starts pre-World War One, and here you have his earliest cards from 1907, and then 1908, and then 1909. So he has a couple other cards that are pre-1910 that I don't have, but I'm really happy to have some of his earliest 1907 cards in pretty nice shape. And then the 1908, which is a lot more common, easier to grab. Some of my cards don't have the best backs. This is actually a pretty nice front from 1909. And one of the other things I really like about these old cards is, the attention to detail and designs, like the fish on these borders, you wouldn't even really see if you weren't looking closely, but I just think they're just fabulous. And the different backs. So this was the capstan back once upon a time, Vice Regal, and you'll see this in other issues as well. So a really good example of that is with this 1911. So these are the 1911, 1912 Wills, and these at first glance the fronts all look the same, but actually pretty different backs. So you've got the kind of pinkish Vice Regal back where it says a series of 50 at the top, right? Then you move over here, you've got the capstan back where it just says a series of, and then a different Vice Regal back that has more of a purple hue that doesn't have the series of 50 either. So, just right there from the 1911s, you've got some different variations. Now moving on to 1912, I just recently picked this up. This is a super rare R&J Hill 1912, and we've got a Smith's next to it as well, which is fairly rare as well from 1912. So if you look at those two plus these, those are all of my pre-World War One issues of Hobbes. So a lot of really cool cards there. I was mentioning earlier that Hobbes played a really long time. So now we get to the kind of next section of his cards. And now we're at 1922. So there's a pretty big gap. Tons of cards printed after this. Some cards printed before this, but starting in 1922, you start seeing some more issues. Here's a 1923 R&J Hill. These are some 1924-ish Godfrey Phillips. These are now getting to like 1926. And actually, I should mention, he did have some larger cards. These are not quite the size of a full, baseball card. But these are from 1922, issued with Boys Magazine with a plain back. And then these are from 1926. These are Amalgamated Press, which Boys Magazine are as well. These are the test match cricketers from Champion Magazine. So when you get into the 1926-ish time frame, he has just a ton of different issues from like 26 to 28. So I'll just go through some of these right now. These are some rare Wills issues, a rare Cohen Weenan, and then continuing on, still 26. You've got another Amalgamated Press here, some more Gallagher's, Godfrey Phillips here, 1926 Ogden's. So you can see just within this time period, just an explosion of different brands and styles, which I just really enjoy. So really enjoy the kind of pre-1930 Hobbes. And then the rest of this, I've got kind of a mix of different issues, mostly from, I'd say 1930 to 35. He had a ton more cards issued. So, a lot of these are pretty common or in pretty poor shape. But I really enjoy them all. I like um, all the different issues, tons and tons and tons of history here. 1928, Major Drapkin. These straight line characters are actually from 26 as well. These caricatures are from 26, 1930. These are all 34. And then these are from 35. I also have this card, which is really cool. This is the 1933 Surrey Cricket Club. And you can see Hobbes there in the top right. Pretty solid team there. And then I also have some other kind of oversized cards that I didn't have in top loaders, but these are actually from 1922 as well. So, a number of other Hobbes issues that are a little bit larger. So that's my Hobbes collection. Like I said, probably maybe my most fun part of my collection. A lot of these ones, especially, the less rare cards from the late 20s into the mid 30s, you can get them really, really inexpensively. So for someone that wanted to start a cricket card collection that was just really interested in learning about the players and the history, I mean, Jack Hobbs, probably the best British cricketer of all time, still holds records, one of the top 10 batters of all time, changed and really enriched the game in a lot of ways because of his very inventive and amazing batting. So not a bad guy to start your collection with. Obviously Bradman would be another great choice, but Bradman's cards are significantly more expensive than Hobbes. So if you're on a budget and looking to collect some cool pre-war cricket, I definitely recommend Hobbes as a good option. Thanks.